Hello?
I'm not gonna lie. This is one of the most boring conversations there ever was.
Yeah. Well, for you.
For anybody, who in their right mind is excited about a conversation about wool socks?
You have two brothers, apparently.
Let's start at the...
So I'll let you know how they are. Is this any better?
No, this is awful.
Or actually,
songs that
right.
made the hit parade.
Songs that made the hit parade!
Oh, I'm aware.
You two keep talking.
All right.
So, back to the sock conversation.
Okay.
Welcome in to the Jack of the Shadows podcast, episode 19. I'm Eric VC, and as always, I'm joined by my fife and drum corps, Adam and Dave. Say hello, Dave.
Hello, Dave.
Greet the crowd, Adam.
Mamacita, ¿dónde está Santa Claus? I'm Adam.
So this episode, we will not be speaking in Spanish, but we will be covering chapters 7 through 12 of the Dragon Reborn.
None of us can.
As usual, this episode will start with a view from Dragonmount and then quickly move to Dave's favorite segment, What Shook Your Willow?
I think you mean quickly descend.
We will then head out onto the heath for a conversation of wolf and man before we put on our PJs and see what lies in dreams. Next, we'll get Randy before discussing our three Aes Sedai to-be women in the three Libras. We'll move into Eyes Baby after that. And then wrap up with our Coplin of the week and who leveled up.
So many options.
So let's move into
too much good stuff.
Our view from Dragonmount. Last episode we kicked off the third book of Jordan's Wheel of Time series with some meetings in Pedron Niall's chambers before witnessing a Trolloc attack on Rand's camp and his subsequent flight. Led by Moiraine, a small group pursues Rand while Min is sent to Tar Valon and the Shienarans are sent a short distance to the east. So chapter 7 sees Moiraine, Lan, and Perrin descend from the Mountains of Mist to the town of Jara, where Perrin has an upsetting encounter with a feral wolf man, and then has another dream. Rand emerges briefly and is being chased by giant black hounds. We then move to just outside Tar Valon, where Varen, Egwene, Nynaeve, Elaine, and Huron and a deathly ill Mat have a quick encounter with Dayan Bornhald before entering Tar Valon and the tower. And then once they enter the tower, the three girls are sent into house arrest. Mat is prepared for healing, and Varen is received by the Amerlin seat. So those are the events for this episode.
Oh, indeed.
Let's discuss our favorite moment of the week. What shook your willow this week, Dave?
For me it was Gnome. A
small garden gnome.
Yeah, I found he was fascinating, disturbing,
not gnomic.
Perrin, just kind of a weird situation of shapeshift of wolf and man, where just the whole, parents freaked out.
So Gnome is the brother of the head steward of the inn in Jara.
Yeah.
And he takes Perrin there in the dark of night.
And Moiraine.
You're right. Moiraine is there with him. Yeah, Moiraine is there with him. Right. Yes, she does. And so he has this encounter with this guy because they think the steward thinks that she can heal him. She thinks that Moiraine can heal Gnome, and Moiraine cannot. She touches him and she's like, there's no man in here at all.
Yeah, it's so weird.
Yeah.
Dave, why did it touch you?
It's just a disturbing thing. So Perrin's got this power, and is that what's going to happen to him? And Moiraine doesn't have any real information to share with Perrin.
Or is she withholding?
I don't think in this situation.
We don't know. Yeah. Sorry.
She wouldn't benefit anything, I don't think, at this point.
I should have withheld that statement.
Of all the things that went on this week, and there weren't super many.
Of all the things.
That's the thing that stood out to me the most. Perrin's been kind of this whole wuss with this whole wolf thing, and then I'm kind of like, okay, well, if that's what's to become of him from being in touch with wolves, maybe it's justified, but I don't know if that's what's to become with him, so I'm still annoyed with him in the wolf thing. So that's, yeah.
Okay.
Isn't
That
this
makes sense.
isn't this what he's been afraid of all along?
No, because he didn't know. He would not have known.
I think he's been afraid of some version of this.
Based on what?
Based on the fact that he's wanted to shut this thing out, and he's worried about becoming. I think he's been general. I think he's demonstrated concerns about losing himself.
That's only just happened in the last instance when he was told by Hopper that could happen. I don't think at all that he had any idea this could happen until just now, which is why I'm giving him the carrot, and the caveat, saying, okay.
I like the carrot.
Yeah, I'm going to start calling it a carrot from now on. I'm giving him that out just because of, okay, if that's the case, then yes.
A delicious treat to some.
He gets the carrot.
It turns others orange.
Not the stick.
But then again, this didn't happen to Elias.
Right.
So parents got evidence now on both sides.
So what shook my Willow this week was Rand is being chased by giant black dogs. They totally remind me of something from like a Wild Hunt. So yeah, these giant creatures come from out of nowhere and are obviously pretty dangerous and at the heels of somebody, some master that we haven't seen yet. So this is another new work of evil that we really didn't get much experience with. So to this point remains largely unexplained. So I found that kind of fascinating.
They're freaky.
Yeah. They're big, it seems. They're bigger than they are
big.
Like
we know that.
Than what is to be expected with what we have encountered with wolves so far.
Yeah. Yeah, they're definitely not wolves.
Yeah, no, they're not wolves.
Yeah. They're
something else.
Rand.
And then Rand's fighting him with some magical power.
Yeah. That's my Willow for the week. What was yours, Adam?
Mine is the fact that Elaine and Egwene, when they meet the White Cloaks, Egwene is so scared that she doesn't want to go back into chains, understandably so, that she uses the power in terms of, it seems like she's using Earth as a power to get away from them. And then they go back and they're going into Tarvalin, and Varen is very, very frustrated with them.
They go back in time.
They do go back in time to Tarvalin, where they came from, 5 months ago?
I think it's less than that, yeah.
It's months ago. Then Varen is really, really just saying to them, first of all, watch your mouths, never do this again because you shouldn't be doing this because it's a power that shouldn't be used. You shouldn't use this power for anything other than saving your own life. And then the woman that's in charge of the Accepted.
Sheriam.
She's in charge of the novices. She's the mistress of novices.
So she mentions, hey, you are some of the most powerful Aes Sedai we've seen in a long time, and you're coming back to us, and you ran off. So they're using their powers all willy-nilly. They haven't really been trained like most Aes Sedai have been. And it seems like Egwene is using a power in the Aes Sedai that hasn't been used in a very, very, very long time, off the cuff, without having any sort of training to be able to be like, oh, wait, maybe I shouldn't do this. And it's interesting in terms of the fact that the male side of the power...
She's using the power as a weapon, which she knows she's not supposed to do.
Right, and you shouldn't be using this power as a weapon, and the males use this power as a weapon.
You're right, yes.
And it destroyed the entire world. So is this something... that
no.
Almost it destroyed the entire world.
You're crossing two different things. The men used
Earth.
It wasn't just
the men used Earth. Well, one of the things about men is using Earth.
Yeah, but that's only one of the powers they used. They didn't just use Earth.
Well, right, but his point is that she's
using
a power.
She is using Earth because she learned it from the Shanshan, that she could actually do this. And I'm just what shook my Willow about it is, she needs more training in order to grasp a hold on that, because if she doesn't, is the same thing possible from her, who is this one of the most powerful Aes Sedai, or most powerful, quote unquote, women that the Aes Sedai have found?
You're concerned that she might go mad?
Her and Nynaeve, this Wilder, can actually do the same thing. It's interesting to me.
Wait, are you concerned that she might go mad because she can use
Earth?
Right.
If not go mad, maybe use it in a way that she should not be using it, and then have consequences beyond her control.
I'm going to go with no. Because once again, the men were going mad because of the taint on Sidene. It wouldn't matter if they used earth, wind, fire, spirit, whatever they were going to use. The taint was in
to
the
point
power
that we
itself.
to the point that we know it because that's the Dark One's taint on it. But is the female version just actually? Do we know enough about it to know that it's?
Well, for 300 plus
doesn't
years,
have a
it's been
taint on it?
perfectly fine. Well, no, for all of creation, it's been perfectly fine. So I would go with yes.
But
I
how many?
remember
from what we
that-
know, this woman that they're using this power in a way that it should not be used.
Right, but there's
That's
I
my
think,
point.
I think
It's just what
okay.
I think is interesting.
So I don't think that there's any suggestion in the material that we've read to up to this point that that the elements of the male source are dangerous in and of themselves. It's just the taint on the male half of the source, the taint on Sidene that is problematic.
What I don't really understand about that is that just because this ultimate evil is a man?
Oh, I don't know that we have ultimately established.
I don't think we have a sex for. I mean,
Then why
Balsamon is a
why is
man.
the female power not susceptible to it being
Because-
corrupted?
Well, that's
from my
it.
understanding that Luz Theron was the one that led this charge and had something to do with it, and
Right.
he's a man, so
Yes.
and he, enlisted people to try to help him. I think I'm guessing that's more what it has to do with it, because the women, I don't know,
Right.
no, they weren't necessarily part of that.
The
maybe?
male half of the source is the half that was attacked or the half that was corrupted because that was what was being used predominantly to fight the Dark One with. I don't know that we have a lot of details outside of that. So
No.
your thoughts are interesting, and I think they can be part of a broader conversation
Thoughts are
elsewhere. So let's move on to
Okay.
of Wolf and Man.
interesting.
So we're
Back to the meaning of
Wolf and Man.
we get a lot of Perrin here, obviously, because of his experience
'Cause it's the
with
Perrin book.
Gnome, and
fistful of parent.
it does seem to be a Perrin book. So first of all, in chapter 7, Perrin is starting to get determined not to let Moiraine control him. And Moiraine is doing things, is taking more control over their journey and over their progress. And then
She
once
should just let Perrin do it, because he knows so much. So she should just let Perrin take over everything.
and once they get into the town, she starts doing things.
See how that would work out.
Do you guys think that she is deliberately manipulating Perrin at this point in order to get him more under control?
Seems like it
No, I'm going to go
from
with
everything
no.
that's being described after the fish catching incident, which is awesome.
No, I think it's absolutely the opposite. I think she's kind of like, I think she realizes who she's dealing with Perrin.
Which is what?
But
which
she's
is
doing
well,
her
it's an
awesome
Emmons
Moiraine
Fielder.
thing after that incident is she's making him do all the chores to realize what his place is.
Right.
Well, he should have a place.
Dave, I understand what you're saying. Whether or not it's the right viewpoint, it's two different viewpoints. And everybody is questioning Moiraine. Everyone has been questioning Moiraine up to this point. Every one of those people, other than Matt, who is off willy-nilly doing whatever, trying to live. And I understand Dave's point about everything that we've learned from Moiraine up to this point, it should be the right way. But
Well, right. I mean, the question.
She's clearly trying to guide him in a certain direction, and that direction is the way that she wants him to be.
Yes,
And
I
that
think
is,
so.
and the fact that she is having him do dishes. She caught these fish. Is just
Did you
she
just say
got,
fishes?
What, 3 5-pound fish, and then she was like, "Oh wait, here, you take care of it. You're gonna have to gut it. You're gonna have to cook it. You're gonna have to do these. You're gonna have to do all of these chores just to be able to put him back in his place, so that he wouldn't be in his high haunches anymore."
Yeah, it's not.
We'll
it's,
see if it works or not, but that's clearly what happened.
I think there's a little bit of room for debate. I don't know that it's cut and dry. Perrin wonders it, which is why I raised the question in the first place. Yeah, it's not a matter of whether or not she should be the leader. I think it's pretty clear she should be the leader.
She
it's
has
just
the most experience and knowledge.
Yeah, it's just that Perrin also, Perrin
I mean,
has,
that goes hand in hand with what I was talking about with the 3 girls, and that they all of a sudden have this ability to use this power, and it might not be the best thing to do.
Right. So we'll want to keep our eye on sort of the tension between these two as we move forward. So that occurs in chapter 7 as they're coming out of the mountains. In chapter 8, we have the encounter with Gnome. That whole moment seems to have a pretty drastic impact on Perrin. And I don't think he had formulated in his mind that could happen to him. But he's obviously concerned about letting the wolves in. He's continuously been concerned about this and been resisting it in the same way that Rand has been resisting his powers.
Yeah, exactly. It's totally that. And Rand resists his powers because he feels like ultimately he can touch the source, so he might, go crazy first of all, and then ruin the world. So Perrin is concerned about just going crazy. So it is the same thing, except one just doesn't,
I think
end
there
all
is
of humanity. Or Ogier.
I think Perrin does have a little bit of concern, has had a little bit of concern about going crazy. I don't think to Dave's point, I don't think that he specifically had this version of crazy in his head.
I thought it was pointed out before, though.
Yeah, that might have been suggested by Elias. And look, Elias wasn't a normal guy. Elias was he
was pretty sweet, though.
I
liked him. He's definitely not a normal guy, but he's pretty cool.
He was wild, though. I mean, and I don't think Perrin wanted to become that either. So I
don't think Perrin knows what he wants to be. He just wants to be working on that anvil.
So what effect is Perrin's encounter with Gnome going to have on him moving forward?
I think it would just push him farther and farther back inside of his denial of his ability. But then what we know of Perrin so far in terms of that, like Perrin is, this book is nice because so far Perrin has actually realized the fact that, oh wait, I actually have some sort of fortitude. But in terms of, like Dave was talking about before, in terms of his ability with the wolves, it seems like he's pushing it farther and farther down.
Yeah.
So I think his experience with him would make him run from it even more, I guess.
That's my concern, because the ability has certainly come in handy a number of different times.
It totally has come in handy.
And I fear that he's going to try to push it away more and more, which also might have problems.
What is fascinating
for
is
him.
that we have, so when they were entering, so they were going through the mountains, and first of all, I really wish that we would have seen some more of these gray mountain cats that are mentioned.
Oh,
be sweet
right.
if some of these gray mountain cats came into
right, yeah. You want them to come into the town? You want them to come into Jahara and just run wild?
I'm just saying that.
That'd be pretty sweet. I'm sure the people would appreciate
as a cat father and a former cat foster father. But so they go into, so the closer they get to these villages outside of when they come out of the mountains, the wolves are around him and they're in areas that they shouldn't be. So clearly they're following this guy because they're like, oh, this bull, this young bull, we like this young bull. Yeah. So I'm afraid he's just going to keep pushing it down because they have seemed to be nothing but a positive for the story, first of all, and especially for him.
Yeah. That encounter really seems to have shaken him. He goes to Moiraine for some information, and she's able to provide some information for him.
A little bit.
But what
if that information were salt, my steak would feel unseasoned.
It would taste like raw meat, which Perrin might prefer at this point.
Oh, which he would want. Yeah, exactly.
He would be totally cool with that.
But it doesn't help him out because he wants more of that salt in this instance.
Right, yeah. He's looking for a little more seasoning on that meat knowledge. Now, and in fact...
I love the fact that he does... So when in terms of food, though, he's even getting to the point that he's like, oh, maybe I'm just going to eat some raw turnips.
Right. Well, boy, he's been craving raw meat to this point, and all they're giving him is
so
turnips.
Now he's just going to be like, maybe I'll try the raw vegetable.
Right.
Maybe that'll be the right thing.
Well, right. That's going to be the thing that's going to keep the wolves away, is if he just becomes a vegetarian. Yeah. That's not going to work.
Some might believe that.
So Moiraine really, if anything, sort of encourages him to be afraid of this change and this ability that's coming in him than anything.
Yeah.
Isn't that the feeling that you get?
It did make me feel that way.
Yeah.
I think it is kind of a positive for Moiraine to feel that way, and the fact that this is knowledge that is older than her, apparently. We've been told that before.
Yes.
So she doesn't know about it.
Right.
And she seems to tightrope along lines of, I want to function in a way of everything that I've gathered up till this point. So I think it makes sense that she would be like, be wary of this. Because I don't know enough about it. I haven't talked to my girls in this wayward town.
Yeah.
That have been my brown Aja that have been studying this for 50 years.
But she does say, be concerned about wolves in your dreams, which I thought up to this point the wolves in his dreams were guarding him.
Did she say be concerned about, or did she say be aware? She said it was a specific word she used.
It made it seem like, oh wait, these wolves actually hang out in these dreams, and it's not only him that sees them.
Right, that's been a thing throughout history, is wolves in dreams. She alludes to
which
that.
is crazy.
She tells him to be concerned about it.
It just seems like wolves have appeared in dreams
and this is
to other people before, not
Mark,
necessarily to Perrin, who has this ability to actually communicate with wolves. I don't think she was warning him about wolves. I think she was warning him about dreams in general, as she usually does.
She just says, be wary of your dreams, but you must sleep sometimes.
Yeah, it just seems like she was saying, hey, be careful about your dreams. I don't think it specifically had to do with wolves.
She just says dreams can be dangerous for you, Perrin. According to her, wolves lie partly in the world and partly in a world of dreams. The wolves talk to one another, they talk to you in some way connected to this world of dreams. I do not claim to understand how. I fear you must learn to be careful sleeping as waking if you intend to avoid wolves. So she's cautioning him, hey, if you want to stay away from wolves in general, like you think you want to do, be extra careful in your dreams because they're more there in your dreams. But I don't think she was cautioning him against the wolves. I think she was just cautioning him about, if this is the path you choose, be extra careful in your dreams because they seem to be more prevalent there.
That's so bizarre. Why are it's strange in the sense that we brought this up before about these different planes of existence or whatever that take place.
Well, I get the feeling like wolves are more supernatural.
Just different realities. Yeah, it seems like
they just have it. I think they have
the wolves, the one that are able to do that.
They have a different sense. They have a sort of sixth sense. And
they do see dead people.
They see dead wolves.
We've witnessed that they communicate telepathically. So they have that ability, and maybe that's tied into this somehow, but they definitely have other abilities that humans don't have.
Well, we know Perrin sees dead wolves in his dreams, so.
Well, and that's a great segue into In Dreams. Hopper's back!
Yay!
We get the return of Hopper, but not before, not on, until after some really, really crazy stuff happens. Weird. So Perrin finds himself in this hallway.
It's rich and compelling.
Everybody take a drink. And
Ding! I just did.
And there are all these shadows clinging and moving around on the ceiling. He sees a guy appear who then has his skin sucked off of him by one of these things. And the whole time Perrin is getting this voice, this warning in his head that he shouldn't be there. He's not supposed to be here. And
as usual, he ignores it.
Right. And he's pushing it away. And then he sees Lanfear, and she's shocked that he's there. And
what are you doing here?
Right. And she's looking at some manuscript, like she's peering at something. Like she doesn't want him there looking at whatever it is she's doing, because whatever she's doing is not good.
She seems to be scheming.
I'm surprised.
We don't get to find out what she's scheming about, but
and then that weirdness happens when she leaves the room.
Right, she shuts the door and it turns to the side and zips away.
What takes place there.
Yeah, it's like you see in the movies oftentimes when somebody moves into a different dimension where space time kind of moves to the side and then disappears.
I'd like to see this done the right way, though. Now
That's
that,
what she pulls here.
He's apparently in a place that he should not be able to get to, that she is in.
Right, and she
Right,
tells him
which
he
is-
could
yeah.
ruin everything.
Right.
So there's
Yeah.
everything. Okay. I mean, I
Whatever
thought
that
that
is.
was what Rand was there to do, is to ruin
Right,
all
exactly.
of their everything.
This is like what we were talking about, how he's struggling with the fact that he doesn't want to do what his power is because it will ruin him,
When he wakes up,
which Rand is also thinking about. But he is taking the place of Rand at this point
yeah.
in this book.
When he wakes
In
up,
that
is
sense.
he actually
But why
bleeding
is he
from
like
the
also?
teeth?
How could he get out of that dream?
That's I don't know. It's like he
No,
was
he's
knocked
not.
out of it.
He's not bleeding. He's not bleeding from
Wait,
Hopper,
Well, it talks about
because he reaches for his throat to see
the
if
water
there's blood
turned
there.
pink as he washed his face. Oh, no, that's right.
He's
It was
bleeding
pink with
from the
blood.
blood spray from the guy who had his skin
Yeah.
sucked off.
But let's think about that. He pops out of this dream, and it's just like the reality of the dream is in the real world.
Yeah, in the same way
like
that.
the other when they
Same
cut
way
their
that
hands
was
or
with
something.
Rand and
Yeah.
also Matt.
So is this the same thing?
Yeah, that's how we know these are the same types of dreams, even though
Types
they're
of dreams,
in
but is it
different
the
space.
same world? That's what I'm getting to. Is it the
I-
same
yeah, I don't-
world? Is it?
It could be, because I mean,
Yeah.
up to this point, we've
It's
seen. We know there's a castle. We know there's that room with the fireplace and the table that Baalzamon was talking to them in the first book. We know that there's a space where there's a bunch of bridges. We don't know if that's the same castle and if that room with the fireplace is there. This could be another hallway in that castle.
Or is it like the Portal Stone worlds where it's a whole nother?
A whole
Reality.
other,
Yeah,
a whole
timeline.
other
Who
place.
knows?
We don't know, because each one of these dreams has felt isolated. We haven't gotten a full scope of.
Sure, six of one, half dozen of the
Everywhere.
other.
Yeah.
It is another reality. Obviously, it seems like these dreams that he's in.
So the
It might
question
not
is,
be
is
the same
are
reality
right,
as
exactly.
the one that Rand was in.
Are the wolves in those other realities where they were dreaming initially, or is this a different dreamscape, if you will?
Yeah,
Don't
maybe
know.
Rand was too distracted to notice another wolf. Like, hey,
Right.
I need some kibbles and bits.
Hey, don't forget also that Perrin has had a dream of his own home where a wolf showed up when
So far,
Baalzamon
everyone
showed
thinks
up.
Perrin's the only one with wolves in their dreams.
Yes.
So
Right.
Yeah.
it's hard to say.
Yeah, and then we just get warnings from our girl Moraine.
I'm still
Perrin's
stuck
not
with the guy with the skin torn off.
Perrin's not the only one dreaming. Egwene is dreaming too. She seems to be dreaming a
True.
lot of Rand lately.
Yep,
So
a lot
We
of
don't really get a
concern
lot
there.
of details.
there's
there.
that going on. She's
But she
dreaming. I think
is.
she's dreaming of him being chased by somebody, but she can't. I
being
don't think
chased by
she's
large
able to
dogs.
identify who it was.
Yeah, some sort of evil is coming after him. Or some
Let's-
sort of
Something
he's in
wicked.
danger.
Let's get a little
Colors.
Randy here. We get very little of Rand here, but it
Not of where
starts.
he's been.
It starts off a little concernedly because we get reintroduced to him here in this book, and he's talking to himself and laughing at jokes that no one is hearing. This is the description that we get from the people in Jara. Remember?
Simeon talks about it. Yeah,
Right, because Moiraine is trying. Well, Perrin overrides Moiraine and just starts asking questions, and he gets this information from Simeon that, yeah, your friend was here. He's kind of weird.
he's a strange guy.
He's laughing at jokes no one hears, screaming in the middle of the night, and
Saying
talking
that
to
someone
himself.
is following him that wants to kill him, and that he has to kill him first.
So is Rand starting to go crazy?
We talked about this last week. I feel like he is.
It seems that way.
I know Dave disagrees, and I like the fact that Dave disagrees.
Part of it is it's okay. Consider the source that all the information comes from. If you get the
Loyal?
information,
Did we establish that it's all from Loyal?
No. I'm talking in terms of the feedback they're getting from Simeon.
Oh, true.
Okay, so that can be misinterpreted. There's a lot of craziness going on in that town at the same time.
Well,
we
sure.
do know
It's strange to me that the craziness is happening in that town after Rand has passed through there.
Well, that's clearly got something to do with Rand. I mean,
Moiraine-
Moiraine states that
Yes.
flat out.
Yep.
But I'm more referring to Rand's state of mind. Well, okay. I don't even know if you have to be crazy to be doing and exhibiting the behavior that Rand's going through, considering the light of everything that kid's been through in the last how many months has it been since this journey has started? What has it been? Like 8-9 months?
since the beginning of the story. It's been about a year and a half.
Okay, so in a year and a half, look at everything that guy's gone through. Now look at the last 4 months. He's running off to Tyr, I guess, apparently. Wherever he's going. He's going to Tyr for Kalendor. And he is being pursued by stuff. Someone's trying to kill him. That's not crazy. That's a fact. He's talking to himself. Well, a lot of us talk to ourselves, too.
I don't do it in public.
Maybe you do. You just don't know that people overhear you.
No, you just sit in the back of
I think
the
they
bar
would tell
and
me.
stare straight
Right.
ahead.
Yeah, okay, it's a little odd. Am I going to chalk it up to he's going insane? No, not yet. But I think everything that he's doing is not all that out of the norm, except for the weird things that are happening
He's
around
laughing
the town.
to himself.
At jokes no one hears.
Jokes.
I think about things I did yesterday or the day before that were super stupid that I did, and I laugh to myself too. That's not crazy. I think it's odd behavior when taken out of context.
If I go crazy, I want people describing my behavior to you because you won't put me away.
But look at it from the context is what really matters. And I think that given everything and all the pressures and all the strains that he's under,
it would make sense if he went crazy.
It would make sense that he would go crazy, but I don't think that's what he's doing because that whole scene we have where he's fighting the wolves off, none of that is exhibited there. All at the end is he shouts out about
what
the
is
people
exhibited
pursuing
beforehand is the fact that he, in the first 6 chapters, he's hanging out with Perrin in this little
Gully,
whatever you call it, alcove.
In the Vale.
I don't know what you would call it.
It was a veil.
Between these mountains, and then all of a sudden he loses control of his power, and the entire land starts shaking.
But that's
and it doesn't only affect him and Perrin. It affects someone else that gets hit over the head.
That's not sanity, though. That's not sanity.
You don't.
Well, he's struggling with control. Insanity is losing
He's struggling
control.
with control.
He's struggling with control over the power. He's not struggling with control over his mind.
You're also talking about control over a supernatural thing, which requires a certain amount of mental control in order to. And that's why he needs the flame and the void. That's why he needs to put himself into a certain mental state in order to maintain control over this. This isn't a physical. This isn't a physical power. This is a power that is channeled through a mental process.
Being strong of mind is not being mentally insane, though.
So, for me, this simply boils down to if a friend of mine came up and described somebody to me in this manner, I would think they were starting to lose their mind.
No one in this book series, as of yet, has actually discussed what's going on. We're just giving information that is being presented to us.
Yeah.
And I think that the information that's being presented to us is that we should be concerned about Rand.
Oh, I'm not saying you shouldn't be concerned because clearly there's odd things going on and he's made a stupid decision to run off by himself because just like Perrin, he thinks he can handle it best. And we all have seen that doesn't really work out well for them.
Rand is being tracked by someone and Perrin smells something incredibly... No, I'm introducing a sentence here, and it's going to end, and we're not going to discuss it.
I don't think he knew that's where you were going.
Okay. Who ordered the schmarmy buckets here?
So Rand is being tracked. Perrin smells something really foul as they enter into Jara. Is Perrin being tracked? Well, he can't be being tracked by Fane because Fane is in Amadisia.
No, it's not. I don't think it's Fane. I think it's those dogs.
Do we know that? We know Fane is in Amadisia?
Yes.
Fane.
Well,
I mean, who else is that guy?
Is
the big-nosed guy advising Pedro Niall?
Well, no. So what we hear is that
Morty.
Yeah. So he meets with whatever his name is.
If that's not
Pedro
Niall, I'm
Niall.
going to eat my hat that I'm not wearing.
Yeah.
No. So we knew that he was there, but so the Rand goes through the town, then the town is followed by the White Cloaks after Rand.
Yeah.
And so we do know that Fane was involved with
I don't think Fane has left.
So did he go off on his own and follow with the rest of these White Cloaks to get to Rand?
Fane seems to have some designs on Pedro Niall.
Yeah, he's a
But we don't
source.
have any. We have. So I'm just saying for the information that we have so far.
Mm-hmm.
I'll
He's
grant
definitely
you that
smelling
it's
something
a possibility,
evil.
But
Rand is saying specifically that someone is following him that wants to kill him, and he is saying, "I need to kill him first." My opinion is that it is Fane.
I'm going to go with no, and I'm going to tell you why no. And I think this will put it to rest. he knows the scent of Fane by now. He's going to know
Huh?
that.
He does.
Perrin,
He should.
Perrin
yeah,
knows the
yes.
scent of Fane.
Yep.
He knows it like
But
his
do we?
back of his hand. He
We
was
know the
tracking him.
wolves do. Do you think
No,
Perrin
yeah,
does?
No.
Perrin did because he was helped tracking him across book 2.
Well, he was using the wolves to do that.
Yeah, but
Yeah, he was using the
also
wolves to
came
do it. He
into
wasn't. I don't think
proximity
he actually
to
ever
him.
had the odor of him.
Yeah, Perrin doesn't have the same nose that Huron had, where he can smell
Huron
Fane that
smelled him
heavily.
going crisscross applesauce
And
around town.
you're right that they were using Perrin to track Fane, but Adam is right. What Perrin was doing was using the wolves to track him.
They used the wolves to find out where he was initially. Once they got onto the scent, Perrin followed him all through those towns where the Murdral was hung.
No, that was
He followed him
Huron. That
across
was
the river.
That was Huron.
That was not him. That
no,
was Huron.
that
That
was
was doing that.
Perrin. Perrin was the one that initially stepped into the town. He smelled the evil that was the Murdral pegged on the wall, and that was done by Fane.
Why wouldn't that have been Huron?
Sure, but that was before.
Because
That
Huron
was
was. I think Huron was
no.
gone.
Dave's right about that, but that was before they actually got into.
And remember, they couldn't use they were using Huron to try to track Fane when they landed in
was with him,
Faldara.
he was also with him at Faldara in the dungeons. He smelled him all over the place, and Perrin was associated with the wolves at that point.
He has, but
Yeah.
we haven't.
I don't
gotten,
know.
We
I
haven't.
think this is a
question
different
that.
evil, and I think it's those dogs.
I think it's a different evil as well, but I think so because I don't
Could be.
see because what we
It could
know.
be. I'm just saying.
what
I don't
we know
I would
from-
raise a
Question.
smidgen of
Would
possibility.
you let me finish my statement, Adam?
No.
What we know from Fane's behavior is that he likes to nestle up to power in order to manipulate it.
Even though he wants to kill Rand, I think his desire for
Well, he seems to be using this in order to get at Rand. Remember, the last thing we know is he plants in the idea in Niall's head that place in Two Rivers has produced a lot of dark friends.
the two
Yeah,
rivers.
everybody there apparently
Yeah.
is a dark friend.
Emmons Field.
Yes. So he seems to have
every single
designs
one.
on them, and it seems like he's
But
trying
he didn't
to
come
use.
to the White Cloaks to get to Rand to begin with. He just came to the White Cloaks because he was like,
We don't know why he came there, actually.
yeah, we don't know, other
But-
than the fact that he was all disheveled and.
But we do.
What
we,
happened?
Yeah,
what happened
we don't
to
know
him?
why.
Last we heard, he was running through the streets, and then all of a sudden he's
Yeah.
disheveled and approaching the White
Yeah,
Cloaks.
he. So
That's
so
another matter.
I don't think he would have left Amadicia. I think that there's more for him to gain there, but we don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know
I
where
don't know
he
if
is.
he
Okay.
had enough resources to,
So there is the possibility that, other than that Perrin is just smelling something that is
Yeah, and
Undefined.
more evil than a Murdral.
and my
or
my
something that he's
my
come across
right.
before.
My first thought was
So
that it
could
was
that be?
my first thought was that it was Fane, but after I got farther into that chapter, I reached the conclusion that he was smelling the dogs, the giant black hounds,
the dogs of war.
the hounds of hell.
I was just gonna say maybe it was the lady in white, but
But she probably smells fantastic.
I guess he had already been around. Well, yeah, no, she seems to smell very nicely,
Right, she smells like lilies.
very nice.
So the other thing that we learned
Lily.
about Rand as far as being a Ta'veren is that apparently he's a stronger Ta'veren than Arthur Hawkwing, and people could say that when you were in the room with Arthur Hawkwing, you could feel the pattern
Right.
shaping itself around you. Min has complained several times about being around Rand because she
big
feels like
bullhead.
she's trapped in a web that he is creating. So being around Rand is getting to become a more and more interesting experience for people.
People get
Yeah.
married. Somebody's getting married.
Yeah. Right, yeah. Now we have all this
Somebody's growing in that power.
All right, let's talk about our three ladies in three Libras here.
The ladies.
So we have the encounter between Egwene, Nynaeve, and Elaine, and Varen, and Dayan Bornhold. And Varen is doing all right. So they see the White Cloaks approaching, and Varen says, okay,
Yep.
let me
she's a
do
frown.
the talking. I'm going to get this taken care of. Don't you worry. And then
Yeah.
what happens?
This is my one divergence from being on Team Aes Sedai to being on Team Girls.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
Spell that out.
I loved what they did here. Because I probably would have done the same thing. I would have done the same thing as Egwene. I would have been in the same mindset of, no, there's no way I am being put back into this situation again. I mean, she went through the most horrifying. She went through something that no other Aes Sedai has any inkling of what that's like. In the history of Aes Sedai, except for, when these leashes were created by the girl who did it, she did it to herself. She brought it on herself. She's the only one who's experienced what that's like.
And come out through the other side.
Out through the other side. So she knows what that's like. Would any sane person, any rational person, let's go with, placidly sit by and be like, I'm going to let you take control of the situation?
I think that's what's so great about the writing, is that makes sense that she would do what she does. But
and I don't think it has.
I do think that Varen probably could have gotten them
possibly
through that, because they were like sitting outside of the shore of Taviran.
But I don't think Dine Burnhall cares one whit about that. I don't think he is scared about being close to Tar Valon. I don't think he was scared of her as an Aes Sedai. I think he was crazy enough by this misguided notion in his head, thanks very much, Child Bayar, of what happened at Falma, that he found out they were there. That was it. His course was set at that moment.
Well, but he hasn't attacked the White Tower.
But now, because of what they did, his course is set even more.
But attack a few witches? Absolutely. He's got the superior number. He would have gone for it.
He only had slightly superior numbers.
No, that's not what I mean. I mean that now that...
And remember, we also know that
Elaine and Nynaeve both did that. They attacked him. He's gonna that's just gonna solidify what he feels.
It will solidify what he feels, but I don't think there was ever any question as to what he felt.
So Varen, first of all, Varen can use the one power to defend herself if she's attacked.
If she's attacked,
so if she's attacked, right?
But then it might be too late. She might be stuck with arrows, and that was a line in there.
They were all there within sight. Yeah. So nobody's going to be able to draw a bow without her seeing it. And we know that...
Unless there were people that were out of sight that we don't know about.
Well, then that would be something that we don't know about.
Right.
So that, I mean, we could start bringing in all sorts of different scenarios into any scene in this book.
Could she take on all of them? We don't know that. We don't know that. We don't know how strong she is.
Well, we don't know that she can't. But what we do know is she knows a whole lot more than they do about the situation. And
I think she assumed a lot. Well, we know she assumed a lot about Dane Burnhall that she did not know.
Why? What do you mean? How do we know that?
Well, because he knows about his father dying at Falme.
Right.
Mistakenly so.
Oh, I like that you're calling it Falme now.
We know that from what is exhibited, he is unhinged. She doesn't know he's unhinged. We can see he's unhinged.
I think
unhinged people often will go to the extreme, let alone an unhinged White Cloak.
I don't. Yeah,
I
don't think that he's lost his perspective.
How to use your power, right. And I respect your idea that they should have used it.
I'm not saying they should have.
I think maybe they should have given
I can see why they
chance.
did, and I was kind of happy that they did.
Oh, I get. I'm not happy that they did, because now they've just created a whole lot of more problems now between.
Because they've basically created an entire war, and it's justified.
No, I don't think they've created an entire
regardless
war.
of what Dane Bornhold.
The war was created.
If he's off the charts already.
No, the war was created when Bayar came out of.
He will have so many people behind him now.
No, that doesn't matter. The war was created when he came out of Falma, because they think all the Tar Valon witches are associated with the Shan.
Now they have evidence of it, though.
No, they had evidence. That's my whole point. This is
but
not.
He
this is like
did not have
another
evidence of that personal. Like he did not have personal experience with that. He did not see that. He just heard about it.
I don't know that he
just
would have
heard about that his dad died that way.
I don't know
now, he has specific evidence that these Aes Sedai witches are using the power to attack people. And that's not good.
I think it's just a way of a story being twisted. That's what the White Cloaks do.
I don't think that
it's not twisted at this point, though. They were attacked.
I don't think that he needed
That's not
further.
What I'm talking about. It's just an experience that they have now, and he has no way of. He obviously it was not attacked without provocation.
Right. So
I don't think there was that much provocation, honestly.
He said they were going to take him. They're going to take him to be questioned. If that's not provocation, Would you let them take you to be questioned?
I just feel like it makes sense because these.
But think about this also, Adam.
It's mostly just the Two Rivers folk being very stubborn in their ways.
Adam, who was with Perrin when the White Cloaks had captured them and were going to be taken to questioners? This is the second time now, after Gwen also has been collared. Now she's going to be taken to be questioned again, and she's got the experience of what it's like to be captured. This is a very rational response from her as to what to do.
Understandable response.
It's an understandable response. I'm not disagreeing with that.
No,
I think the provocation was there.
Probably
Did she go to an extreme?
The best response to do in the situation when you can see the tower from where you are.
That doesn't mean you can't be killed.
I would agree.
No, it doesn't mean that.
I would agree that Dan Bornhall didn't need any more evidence of the Aes Sedai using their power to believe that they have started using their power as a weapon. I don't think he needed any more evidence for that. But now he has more. And
now he has it.
I wish...
I'm wishing.
I understand why Egwene did what she did, but she lost control. She disobeyed. She lost control of herself. She lost control of her emotions.
I don't think so. I think she made a very calculated decision.
Interesting.
No, because I think if she had it to do all over again, she would have given Varen more time. I don't think that she made a calculated decision.
I think those are two very different things.
I guess it all depends on what you mean by how much time you think somebody needs to make a calculated decision. If you believe somebody can make a calculated decision in a second, then yes, she could have made a calculated decision.
I mean, we all make decisions in a split second.
Yes, they're usually called impulsive. Those are usually called impulsive, not calculated.
I would say this was an impulsive decision.
So would I.
I would say Dave.
Well, many impulsive decisions are emotional.
If you're saying calculated is I see no other way to come out of this in this 2 seconds.
Absolutely.
Than using my power. If that's what you're considering calculated, sure. But
I mean,
this
obviously
is pretty impulsive.
Obviously, that was her emotional response. But I think that if she was,
and I'm not saying I would not do the same thing. I'm just saying it would probably not be the right decision to do.
I
would probably do the same thing if I had that power.
I will say this much,
and I would be wrong for it.
It certainly didn't do them any favors with Varen.
It didn't do them any favors with anybody.
And it is because of this type of impulsiveness that the three oaths exist, so that things like this 100%. Don't happen, creating scenarios like this and creating problems like this, because this is going to. You're right that it's not creating a new problem with Dan or the White Cloaks, because
assuming it's going to
they already they do already believe that the Aes Sedai are out there using their powers as a weapon.
True.
But
and they believe the information that they're given.
If this had happened,
if
this had happened in another situation, it would have been a problem, and the Aes Sedai recognize this, and that's why they created the three oaths. I mean, and it is Egwene that we get most of in that experience, but we get a little bit more Aes Sedai in the last chapter that we read, chapter 12, in Varen's conversation with Swan. So let's do a little eyes baby here and talk about that meeting and what we gained from it. So first of all, the first question I have is what do you think is in that box of nightwood that Swan has warded to burn itself up should somebody open it?
Secrets.
Secrets.
I've got a secret. I've been hiding.
Well,
I would imagine it's a lot of information about Rand, first of all, and the Corinthian.
The Corinthian leather?
The Corinthian leathers in my Porsche.
Porsche.
Not bragging here, but I own a Porsche.
Many leather-bound books.
We have a Porsche also.
Yeah, that gets my guess. Stuff. Well, it could be anything. I mean, I
think it's mostly going to have stuff to do with Rand.
And secrets. Right. Who knows?
We know.
Rand, and then information about Moraine and her. And
except Moraine's not
the Corinthian, the cycle and everything that they've gathered up in the past 20 years. And maybe he has some nudie pictures of her. Who knows?
Really hope that's not it.
Why would you hope that's not it?
Here's one of the interesting things that we learned from that conversation. When Rand proclaims himself the dragon, would they think
Oh.
that at the same instance,
Sure.
the horses
Yeah.
that contained the two other false dragons reared themselves and threw their riders to the ground, where they were then rendered unconscious, and instantly their followers proclaimed them dead and fled. And this is
that's
used
really crazy
for further evidence that he is the dragon reborn. So what do we learn about the web of time from something like this?
that I feel sorry for the horses.
That's it. That's your takeaway. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I feel sorry for. Pay attention to the living beings that have no choice.
You have such an equine concern. I'm sure that our PETA listeners will really appreciate that.
No, they won't appreciate my leather belt that I'm wearing and my leather shoes.
Or your Corinthian
No,
leather.
what
We
Right.
discussed.
what's
Or your
crazy is
Corinthian
that-
leather
so, yeah,
Porsche.
No, so you're saying you're calling this fate?
I'm not calling it anything.
what you're saying?
I
It's a
asked.
pattern.
My
Okay.
question is, what do we learn about the web of time from something like this?
Well, we've been hearing that Taviran, that if you are Taviran, you will, push other people into either out of the way or into the web that needs to be done.
That's normally like
that
I
needs to
think-
be weaved.
Isn't that
So
normally in proximity? This
this is
not
further
proximity.
evidence of it. This is like Dan Bornhold specific evidence of it.
I think this is the wheel. I don't think
Yeah.
this is Tavir, and
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
this
yeah.
is the wheel.
Right,
Oh,
and that's what I
well-
find interesting.
Well, that's the same.
No, they're not the same.
I see it
One
them being
affects the other.
sort of, yes, but this
So
sure
did you
seems.
just say sort of?
Sort of.
I
sort
did.
of?
I've developed a lisp over this podcast. I don't know if you've realized that.
It's because of me.
I'm becoming Porky Pig. The
Sort of.
or Daff. That's
That was
Daffy Duck.
Sylvester.
I was thinking, yeah, Sylvester
That
or
was
Daffy
Sylvester.
Duck. I think
David's
that
middle name.
up to this point we've talked about Taviran really
names.
causing people in their vicinity to change, and we've seen
True.
it in
Yeah,
Jara.
yeah, yeah. Okay.
This is the
Very
wheel,
much farther
the
away.
web of time, just going. All right, done with you guys now. See ya.
Well, it just has to.
But it has been talked about.
It is. It has, and it shows that the prophecy is being fulfilled. Once the prophecy was fulfilled, there was no room left. Like she says, there's no room in the pattern for these other people, and that's it.
Yeah.
Goodbye. You're done.
I mean, it's interesting to me because usually we think of fate in fairy tales or in fantasy tales in terms of a journey that's out there for someone that they don't know they're playing out. This seems to be a world and a web of time taking an active measure, and just it creates a conscious being really out of the overall fabric of time that these people live in. That's not God. That's just this pattern that's like, yep, need this now, gonna put this here, don't need that now.
It makes no sense, but apparently that's what's happening.
It's crazy. It's an active being in this world.
It is strange that the wheel can move things along in a way that seems positive for it, but it can also, like Moraine, like what's happened with Moraine, with Rand running away, sometimes it just doesn't seem to have control, and then you can have someone come in and like bring an end to the Age of Legends or something like that.
There's
So how much, like, they keep talking about the wheel, like this, that the wheel weaves as the wheel like does. So, but
wheels.
it doesn't seem like it has actually done that great up to this point. And this might be another mistake.
What would the mistake have been?
Choosing Rand to be the Dragon Reborn.
Maybe, we don't know.
Yeah.
But
I just don't trust it. It's crazy though, but it does seem like, Eric, you brought this up because these horses
but
and
he
these
is
other
the Dragon
two
Reborn. So
false dragons,
those
quote
other
unquote.
people, I mean, would have
Had-
only distracted from who he's supposed to be at this point. And if all these prophecies need to be fulfilled, and if he needs to fulfill these prophecies, and the people of the dragon, or whatever it is they're talking about, are going to have to serve with him or go with him, you don't want them going to these other false dragons, because that's what they truly were then at that point. They were the false dragons.
Yeah, but
So if he's going to the end, the
I'm
last
just
battle, you
wondering,
want
was
everyone
there
behind
another
him.
dragon that
Maybe
should have
in-
been
maybe in
woven into
another
the weave
timeline.
earlier to make this stop happening?
Right. That's the interesting thing is Fate takes an active hand in getting rid of the other two. But why did they exist in the first place if Rand was always? There's an interesting element here of like randomness.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
well, how much of that
like
is on Fate?
I mean,
how
this
much
is outside of the book
on those people.
I guess a little bit about the information that we have, but I think it's
those people
fairly
took it
fascinating
upon
question.
themselves to make themselves the dragon.
But
they
some of them
delusional.
Some of them didn't take it upon themselves to be able to channel, and that's
but some of them couldn't even channel. They consider themselves to be the dragon.
We will set those aside because the bigger concern for Moiraine that she's mentioned on a couple of different occasions throughout the story up to this point is that one of the signs that the end of the world is near, that Tarmon Guyton is near, is the fact that legitimate channeling people declaring themselves the Dragon Reborn are occurring with a much higher rate of frequency.
Now, I will say this.
That's something they can't control.
Adam, to answer your question of were one of those other ones the real dragon? No, they couldn't have possibly been. Were they born on Dragonmount? No.
This is a question, by the way, that Swan posed at the end of the last book was... how do we know for sure that Rand is the Dragon Reborn? Because there are these other ones too, and isn't it likely it could be one of them also? And Moiraine has some pretty sound arguments, one of them being where Rand was born.
And now Rand's
him.
also got a mark, the heron on his hand, and twice those should be marked, so maybe another one's coming. He's
true, but these are all just...
This is compounding evidence.
These are all just conjectures from... history and predictions of what would take place, and given from man to man to man.
They seem to be coming true.
They're treated as prophecy, so they're
prophecies.
heavily believed.
No. I know.
And Rand,
I don't want to get too far outside of the book and saying that. I just think I'm not necessarily sold that Rand is the essential.
Really?
Well,
answer to this.
Rand isn't sold. That's why he's going after Kalimdor, because he wants farther proof for himself that he's the real thing.
How much more do you need?
I know. We have a lot more information as readers, though. Than he does.
Better yet,
how much more I need is the fact that this failed before.
You've been identified by.
So why is this not going to fail now? I mean, was the dragon before and it failed.
What are you talking about?
So what are you talking about?
What failed dragon?
3,000 years ago, the dragon went mad.
Yeah.
Right.
He wasn't supposed to save the world then.
After he sealed after he helped get the Dark One sealed away again.
Yeah.
Right. So but it didn't solve anything.
Yes,
we're going through the same thing over and over again.
Adam, well, that's the way this world works.
Back then,
I know. I'm just saying. That's what I'm saying. Is the fact that this could just end with Rand being victorious, quote unquote, and then it could just go on and happen again.
Well,
that's
the whole thing.
What kind of victory is that?
That's kind of like what. Well, we don't know.
It's
but
the victory that the Wheel of Time affords.
Yeah.
It's a victory.
So the Wheel of sorry, I'm just going back to the Wheel of Time and feeling like the wheel is messing up.
The problem that you have is actually more the story itself, and that Jordan doesn't offer.
I don't have a problem with the story. I have a problem with
the Wheel of Time is the story.
I'm concerned about Rand.
Well, you should be, and we know that the Aes Sedai are not concerned about Rand. What they're concerned about is getting him to Tarmon Guyton so that he can defeat the Dark One, and then whatever happens to him after that.
And I don't know if I trust them either.
Moiraine is convinced that there is probably still a lot of destruction that is out there for the world, that it could survive and the Dark One could get sealed up, but that doesn't mean that I think she highly suspects that there's going to be a lot of problems. Yeah. Even if they win.
That's specifically talked about over and over again, is that it seemed like half the world is going to die in order to be
saved. It's a Thanos thing.
Another interesting thing is we get into, and Varen gets into this whole, hey, they were using women to channel, and that's really concerning, and we should be concerned. And then Swan cuts her off. Varen is about to say,
just totally poo-pooed.
This is the worst, Mother. The Shan-Chan use the power in battle. They use it as a weapon. And then Swan says, that is already causing us trouble, Varen, and will cause us more as the stories spread and grow with the spreading. But I can do nothing about that. I am told these people are gone, daughter. Do you have any evidence otherwise? And then Varen says, well, no, Mother, but Until you do, let us deal with getting the silver pike out of our nets before they start chewing holes in the boat too. What do we think Varen is about to say there before she gets cut off?
It could be a number of things. I think the important thing is this is a disaster waiting to happen, and they've become so narrow.
It's already happened. I think that makes sense with Swan. What we know of Swan, though.
Really?
Because she spent her 20 years. She spent this past time. I keep saying 20 years. Am I wrong on that?
No,
that's right.
It's approximately 20 years.
Yeah, so she's been spending that time with Moraine to
You think that's
focus
the
on
only thing she's been paying attention
who
to?
Rand is.
No, it's
She just learns that a massive force of people who took over a country are using women to channel, and that's not important. That's bizarre.
Yeah,
to me.
I think that can happen. You've finally gotten to the point that you are pretty sure that it's this guy that you've been looking for 20 freaking years, that you're not going to be concerned about any other information that's given to you.
I know.
She doesn't say
It could
it's
be
not
like your
important.
best friend just died, and she would be more concerned about hearing about Rand.
She doesn't say it's not important. She just says it's not important right now. It's not the priority.
Right.
I think she.
I agree with you that it should be the priority, and the fact that that's crazy. That's not a good look for us.
Not only
We
that,
should kind of
it's like,
focus on that.
Hey, where are these women that they're getting?
Right.
The
How
tower's
do
so
they have the
small
power
in
to do
numbers. Shouldn't they be after these women too? The Sean Chan can find them super easy. Why can't they find them?
That's why you think it should
They're
be
not
a concern.
raiding
No, I think that's
villages and
another-
have the 3 oaths.
Another way to go with that is there's a lot to unpack there that she just sticks off in a corner.
I think the greatest concern and the thing that she is failing to address is they need to get out in front of this. They need a good PR campaign to be able to say, "Hey, we are not these people. These are not Aes Sedai. These rumors are not us, and we are not to convince the children because there's nothing you can do about them, but to convince the population at large because there could be a huge backlash from this coming.
I wasn't even
them.
thinking about the PR damage control. I'm thinking about
I don't know what
back.
the PR is at that point, other than
They're coming back
word of
and
mouth.
they're coming
So
for
I don't know how
you.
you avoid that.
They're coming for you. They're coming for the Aes Sedai.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of a big deal.
Well,
and guess what? They will fight you in ways that you won't fight them.
No, you will because
Right.
once you're
No.
attacked,
Well,
you
if
can't.
The
it's
Aes
life
Sedai are
and
not
death,
weapons
they
of
will.
war.
Well, some of them are. The Greens are.
That's one small portion, whereas that's all the Sean Chan do. That's a big thing.
Yeah, you're right, but Falme is a long way away from Tar Valon, and I could
They can fly through
understand
the air,
where.
birds of prey.
Yes, they don't have. I mean, that's
Their
not
numbers
an
are
armada.
dwindling.
I can understand why they wouldn't be afraid for their lives at this point.
I feel like they should be. We were just shown the power that these people have, and the Aes Sedai don't that we know.
Right,
don't
but why
match
didn't
it.
why didn't they just attack the White Tower then from the beginning if that was their
'cause
object?
This wasn't the return. This was the exploration. Remember, they said the return is coming. These people are coming.
Well, the exploration
Eric.
was foiled.
And Dave, you were
By
asking
the
what you
heroes of
think
the
that
Horde.
Varen would tell Swan. That was the question originally, right?
What?
No,
what,
no,
what,
no,
got cut off.
the
You were
but,
asking what you think that
what was
Right,
the but?
Varen was going to tell Swan.
Right, what she was gonna communicate there.
They're just going to tell him more about it.
I think it's
Well,
right.
I think essentially, I mean, it's the same thing as when she was talking about Mordeth, and she was wondering about how many days it would take for him to infect, or whatever, quote unquote, to infect the entire population. I think it'd be more of the same. Just
Here's
this is
another
a bad thing.
Do we even
I'm very
know that-
calculated. This is not good that they have women that are actually attacking people. That's a huge deal.
It's also a huge deal that Egwene has insight to provide into this, but it doesn't seem to matter.
No, that's not even discussed. Yeah.
No, it isn't discussed.
We don't know that it doesn't matter.
Well,
She hasn't been in the tower except for literally a couple of hours.
Don't you think you've been captured by a device that can channel Aes Sedai's power against their will? Why on
Yeah, but that
earth-
just runs in the same territory as what Eric is bringing up. Like
Right,
she
but why
didn't
on earth
get
is it-
any chance to actually say this to
No,
Swan because
you-
she was so
that's
cocksure
something
about
they should
Rand.
right. That's something you should learn about, but no.
Varen, it doesn't
Very
seem
much
like Varen has
so
dug
about
into that at all.
Which is weird to me too.
Right, I would think. But once again,
This is a brown.
these, from what we've seen of the Sean Chance so far, they do seem to be looking to conquer the continent. If you're going to do that, it seems that they're going to come from the west, so it's going to take you a little bit of time to get to Tar Valon. So I can understand Swan's calculation.
Eric, though, is the fact that they're enslaving women that have power. That should
100%. That's a different issue.
Probably should be so raised at that point as an Aes Sedai, as the leader of the Aes Sedai. You should be like, whoa. But she isn't even.
Someone
at all.
should be. Yeah.
She isn't
That's
even at
real
all.
bad.
I think that, I think the whole thing of capturing and using women who can channel should be a concern.
But she's just like, no, not right now.
It's not, yeah. So that is I's baby. We're heading into the home stretch here. So who is your Coplin of the week, Dave?
It was Perrin, simply from the standpoint of he just doesn't listen. Wolves are trying to talk to him. He won't listen.
Yeah.
He's, once again, he keeps getting in his way. Yes, I understand the whole manipulation control thing we're talking about with Moraine and what have you, but he's so stuck in his Two Rivers mentality of this is all going to be for the bad, this is all going to be for the bad. Anything that has to do with an Aes Sedai is going to all be for the bad. Can't see a helping hand coming to him. He's driving me crazy. For all the good things that he does, all the good things that he's starting to do, he's still so stuck in his bad ways that those things are just driving me nuts.
So my Coplin of the week was Egwene. Apparently, Matt does not have a monopoly on ignoring instructions and doing what he feels like doing in the moment.
I applaud for those choices.
So Egwene, for the first time, I think you are my Coplin of the week. I Coplin you.
You've been Coplin.
Right.
Egwene is mine for a different reason, though. Mine is the fact that she got jealous of thinking about the fact that Min was going to be spending time with Rand.
Interesting.
Haven't you gotten over this yet?
No. Well, see, just like Perrin, it's another human emotion that people just can't get rid of.
I know.
How many girlfriends or boyfriends have pined over their lost?
I guess I understand, but she's my Coplin of the week this week because
stop being human, Egwene.
Right.
Yeah, stop it.
She does need to get a hold of herself.
It. It's been
3 months. That's
a bit of time that we've gone over and over again. The fact that they've broken up and they have no hope of recovering. Maybe they do, but she's mine because of that. Learn from your mistakes.
Who leveled up? Dave, who leveled up for you then?
Perrin.
So Perrin is your Coplin of the week.
I love
and
it.
He's my leveled up.
Oh, I'm so on board with this.
He begrudgingly leveled up. Certainly not by his own choice, but here he is in this otherworldly dream place, and he's, in a place and none of these other guys are. He's witnessing weird people dying. He keeps his composure through that, oddly enough, as freaky as it is. He doesn't, that's just Perrin. Perrin just plods along. But I think he's now got some other weird power in this weird dreams that he's into. I also think he leveled up because he showed a level of humanity with letting Gnome free. This goes
Love
to
that move.
Yeah, this goes to the whole, as much as annoying as Perrin is for my Coplin, at the same time, he will do things that you go, Perrin. That's why I do like you. I keep wanting to hate you, but I still do like you.
Okay. My who leveled up is Varen Sedai. She seemed to have things well in hand. She seems to have led this party successfully across the good portion of the continent to Tar Valon.
No one knows.
And she, I felt like she had things under control with Bornhald, and she certainly seems to have an idea of the priorities when she talks to Swan, even though Swan doesn't demonstrate a good understanding of what's going on out there, possibly because she's been locked up in the tower, whereas Varen is out actually seeing and experiencing everything. So Varen, you leveled up for me this week. Who you got, Adam?
Good call. Mine is Elaine.
Interesting. Yeah. Very little screen time for Elaine this week.
Very, very little screen time, but the fact that she was able to use the power as Egwene was able to use the power against the White Cloaks seems like a big deal for her.
She's there hurling earth while the Flight of the Valkyries is playing in the background.
Yeah.
We haven't experienced that much of Elaine and the power.
We haven't. That's true.
So it seems like this is a big step for her. So I hope to see more of that in the future, because so far she's just been the daughter of Andor.
Not only that, there's something apparently weird going on with their mom.
Daughter of Andor just not enough for you, huh, Adam?
No.
Plainly no.
Yeah, Dave. There does seem to be something weird going on with her mom, but who knows? We haven't actually had...
Right. That came from an
real
unreliable source.
That came up from someone that I don't trust.
Right.
I don't trust either, but he got the information somehow, so it
right.
could be manipulated somehow.
Yes. Yeah, he
but
could.
We will see.
Unreliable source. Well, that completes episode 19 of Jack of the Shadows. Join us for episode 20, when we will discuss chapters 13 through 18 of The Dragon Reborn. Until then, may you shelter in the palm of the Creator's hand.
Aw, Ingtar.
Bye.
Bye.